professionalization of teaching. The policy goal should be able to ensure that all children have access to skillful teachers to make the teaching profession more attractive to talented young adults and to produce human and intellectuality lively learning communities for both students and teachers. Came from the famous saying of Linda Darling Hammond.
Here's our objective.
Lesson 1. Basic Laws on the Professionalization of Teaching. Presidential Decree Number 106 enacted in the Philippines on January 1, 1977 professionalized the teaching profession. This decree recognized the significant role of the teachers in shaping the nation's citizens, the substantial growth of the teaching population over 300,000. The decree aimed to elevate the teaching profession status and ensure its continued contribution to national development. Here are the 5 proclamations of Presidential Decree. Presidential Decree 1006 mandated high-quality teacher education aligned with Philippine needs. The Civil Service Commission and Department of Education jointly administered a teacher examination. Passing the exam granted a certificate or the professional teacher certificate, making it mandatory for teaching in public or private schools 3 years after the degree's implementation. Despite the 1977 professionalization of teaching in the Philippines, PD or the Presidential Decree 1006, which mandated a professional teacher certificate for entry into the profession, the 1991 Congression Philippines Commission to Review and Assess Education or EDCOM found that the quality of education was continuously deteriorating. The EDCOM report concluded that teachers were a central factor in this decline. So here are the 3 factors, which is teachers are poorly trained, teacher is low quality of students enrolled in teacher training, and teaching is perceived as a poorly esteemed profession. The Philippine Constitution recognizes the importance of attracting high-quality individuals to the teaching profession. This is the teaching profession. This is achieved through competitive salaries and working conditions that foster job satisfaction. Building on this, Republic Act No. 7836 on 1994 formalized the professionalization of teaching, creating a governing body, which is the Board for Professional Teachers, and a standards licensure exam or LET. Later legislative changes further refined this system to ensure the recruitment of the most competent educators. 1.1 Presidential Decree Number 1006 providing for the professionalization of teachers, regulating their practice in the Philippines and other purposes. So here are the 7 whereas where you can pause the video. Whereas, emphasizes the Philippine Constitution requirement for the state to supervise and regulate all educational institutions and maintain a complete, adequate, and integrated education system aligned with national development goals. Whereas, notes that the Department of Education and Culture actively works to fulfill these constitutional objects by overseeing all educational institutions nationwide. Whereas number 3 highlights that the educational system's supervisory function aims to instill civic duty, moral character, and vocational skills in students. Whereas number 4 emphasizes that teachers are essential for achieving these educational goals because of their continuous interaction with students. Whereas points out the massive growth of the teaching population, indicating the sheer size and complexity of the educational system. The large number of teachers highlights the need for a more structured and formally regulated system. Whereas states that the urgent need for teachers and the rapid expansion of the teaching profession necessitate formal regulation to maintain quality standards. The last whereas argues that elevating the teacher professional status is crucial for boosting teacher morale and recognizing the profession's vital role in nation building. Section 1, Title. This decree shall be known as the Decree Professionalization Teaching. Section 2, Deceleration of Policy, declares that the teacher education is a primary concern of the government and should be of the highest quality, aligning with Philippine conditions and the needs and aspirations of the Filipino people while also incorporating adaptable ideas and practices from other countries. Section 3, Definition of Terms. It clarifies the meanings of teachings, teachers, and board. Specifically, it defines teaching as a classroom instructions at the elementary and secondary levels. Teachers to encompasses all individuals engaged in teaching at those levels, including those in administrative or supervisory roles, and board as the National Board for Teachers created by decree. Section 4, Creation of the National Board for Teaching. The board is composed of key members including this. Section 5, powers and duties, defines the board authority and responsibilities in regulating the teaching profession. This includes appointing examiners, setting examination dates and location, investigating the teaching profession's condition, issuing and revoking teaching certificate, appointing staff, setting fees, and creating rules and regulations for the profession. Section 6. Applicants who are rejected for an examination can appeal the decision, but the grounds for appeal are limited. They can only appeal based on alleged discrimination on the basis of characteristic identified in the San Mateo County Equal Employment Opportunity Policy. Section 7. Appointment of the examiners. The board appoints recognized experts, gives their names confidential until results are released, and set their pay at least 5 pesos per examinee, with a maximum of 18,000 per examination. Government employees receive this compensation in addition to their regular salary. Section 8. Scope of the examination. The board determines the content of this test considering the teaching plans of legally established schools in the Philippines, specifying that it will consist of written tests. Section 9. Ratings in the examination. Outlines the passing requirements for the teacher examination. A candidate must achieve an average of at least 70% across all subjects, with no individual subject score falling below 50%. The main point is to determine the minimum acceptable performance level for successful completion of the exam. Section 10. Report of the result of examination. To establish a timely reporting mechanism for the examination result, examiners are required to submit the candidates' ratings to the board within 150 days of the exam conclusion, unless an extension is granted. Section 11. Insurance or certificate. Teacher who pass the examination, either this conducted by the Civil Service Commission alone or jointly with the Department of Education and Culture, are deemed to have passed the board examination. The section also extends the provision to teachers with permanent appointments under the Magna Carta for public school teachers and other qualified for registration.
Please read Section 12 and Section 13.
Section 14. Registration by reciprocity. If a foreign teacher is illegally registered in their home country and the requirements for registration are substantially the same as the Philippines, the Civil Service Commission can register them without examination. The applicant must provide competent and conclusive documentary evidence confirmed by the Department of Foreign Affairs, demonstrating that their home country's laws allow Filipino citizens to practice teaching under the same rules and privileges afforded to their own citizens. Section 16. Penal provision. Outlines penalties for violation. Anyone practicing teaching without a valid certificate, misrepresenting their credential, providing false information to obtain a certificate or admission to an examination, or violating any provision of this decree faces a fine, 1,000 to 5,000, and or imprisonment, 6 months or to 2 years. The main point is to deter unlawful teaching practices and ensure accountability. Section 18. Separability Clause. This section states that if any part of the decree is deemed unconstitutional, the remaining parts will remain in effect. Section 19. Effectivity. This section sets the effective date of the decree as January 1, 1977. If you have a question, please comment down below, and thank you for listening to my report.